Today, we're diving into the mind of a true master of change, David Bowie. But we're not just going to talk about his music or his fashion. No, we're going to deconstruct the actual system behind his genius. This is the story of how one artist turned the idea of constant reinvention from just a creative impulse into a powerful strategic weapon. Okay, let's get into it. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with this one core realization. You have to picture the music industry in the 70s. It was this giant machine that built these billion-dollar walls around its stars. It demanded that you be consistent. It wanted to slap a label on you, folk singer, one-hit wonder, and keep you in that box forever. Bowie saw that game for exactly what it was, and he knew with total clarity that the only way to win wasn't to play by their rules. It was to tear up the rulebook and create his own. So how do you go about breaking the rules of an entire industry? Well, you start with one single defining moment, an act so bold, so completely against the logic of success, that it just shatters every single expectation. And for Bowie, that moment wasn't a hit song. It was an act of pure creative destruction. The date is July 3rd, 1973. Ziggy Stardust is a worldwide phenomenon. Bowie's at the Hammersmith Odeon, at the absolute peak of a sold-out tour, and he just leans into the mic and announces that this is the last show they'll ever do. Just like that. In one sentence, he killed his most famous, his most profitable creation. The shock was, well, seismic. I mean, why on earth would anyone just walk away from that kind of success? Because this wasn't some random impulse. This was a declaration of war on the very idea of consistency. This was the first real-world test of what we're calling the Bowie Rule. He was turning metamorphosis into a weapon. See, he understood that in a world that craves predictability, the most powerful move you can make is the one nobody, and I mean nobody, sees coming. That's radical transition. The idea that your biggest pivot, that moment you walk away from the thing that's working, it's not a risk. It's your most lethal weapon. It's how you take back control. But this incredible insight didn't come from success. It was forged in a decade of failure. To really get the man who could kill Ziggy Stardust, we have to go back. We need to understand the years of struggle that created this radical way of thinking. Before all the fame, before the Starman, there was a long, hard road of trying and failing. Just try to imagine it. 10 years, a full decade of pouring your heart and soul into your work and getting pretty much nothing in return. He was in this state of what's been called analytical hunger. He wasn't just creating blindly. He was studying, absorbing, trying to figure out why he wasn't connecting, all while watching the world and the music industry just move on without him. This wasn't just a tough time. It was a soul-crushing education in what it feels like to be an outsider. And it taught him that just being yourself was a total trap. His journey really began as a Brixton mod in this gray post-war London, feeling like an outsider from the jump. When he was about to be written off as a failed mod, he wrote Space Oddity just to flip that narrative. But the success that followed led to what's known as the LA Despair, this period of intense isolation fueled by coke and paranoia. His response? Absolutely radical. He fled to Berlin. He chose total anonymity to record ambient music when the world was screaming for more pop hits. He was deliberately shedding the superstar title just to rebuild himself from the ground up. This right here, this slide visualizes the core conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the industry's box. They tried to label him a folk singer, then a one-hit wonder. Their entire business model is built on consistency, on things staying the same. But then you have Bowie's vision. He didn't want to be a folk singer. He wanted to be an alien. He threw out consistency for metamorphosis. And the key insight, the thing you have to get, is that to do this, he had to systematically unlearn the need for approval. He had to stop caring what the industry or even what his fans wanted next. And this was the huge lesson he learned in Berlin. In a world of hype and fads and changing trends, the only thing that was permanent, the only thing that was undeniably real, was his own ability to transform. Everything else could be a lie. The record sales, the media story, the public persona, but the act of reinventing himself, that was real. That was sovereign. And that realization, born from all those years of failure, became the bedrock of his entire philosophy. So that brutal decade and his escape to Berlin, it didn't just give him a new sound. It forged a powerful, repeatable mindset, the philosophy of the perpetual outsider. Okay, so at its core, this philosophy is a total rejection of the comfort zone. For Bowie, the second you settle into a style, the moment you start repeating yourself just because it feels safe and successful, that's the moment you give up all your power. It's a strategic loss. In this mindset, there's only one valid move: the change. It's this relentless, forward-moving pursuit of what's next, not for novelty's sake, but for the sake of staying in control of your own story. And that leads to this key tactic: artistic anonymity. Now, this is a seriously counterintuitive idea. Most of us think you have to be in the spotlight to have any influence. Bowie believed the exact opposite. He understood that the real power is found in those in-between phases. You know, that period when you've shed your old skin, but you haven't shown the world the new one yet. By staying in that transition, you're free. There are no expectations. You can experiment and build and create until the new thing is so powerful that when you finally reveal it, it's just undeniable. This just completely reframes the entire purpose of success. For most people, fame is the end game. It's the place you get to for shining, for enjoying all the rewards. For Bowie, fame was a tool. It was a laboratory. It gave him the resources, the platform, and the audience to run his experiments in public. Every persona, every album was a new hypothesis he was testing in his search for the truth. He wasn't just making music. He was using his platform to ask these huge questions about who we are, about art, and about our culture. Now, a powerful mindset is one thing, but turning it into results again and again, that requires a system. Bowie didn't just think about reinvention. He built a set of concrete daily habits to literally engineer it. He made his philosophy real. He actually operationalized his genius with a routine. First, what you could call the Persona Audit. He'd systematically look at his current skin and then kill it off the second it became predictable. Second, systematic absorption. He treated every single album like a lab to soak up new influences that would actively threaten his own consistency. And third, cut-up feedback. Using that famous cut-up technique to rearrange sentences, break his own thought patterns, and force surprising new ideas out of his own subconscious. Another key part of his system was what you could call the collector model. He completely refused to follow the single story path. He wasn't just a musician. He was a painter, an actor, a student of fashion, of literature, you name it. He collected ideas and aesthetics from absolutely everywhere, but he didn't keep them in separate boxes. He let these different art forms talk to each other in his work. And that cross-pollination is what forced new understandings and kept his work constantly evolving. This wasn't a hobby. It was a core habit of foundational reinvention. So what's the big payoff for this relentless system of change? Well, it's nothing less than the complete redefinition of what a global icon could even be. He didn't just navigate culture, he became one of its chief architects. 5 decades. Just let that sink in for a second. Through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and all the way into the 21st century, David Bowie didn't just stay relevant, he was foundational. His system of reinvention is what allowed him to stay at the cutting edge of culture for a length of time that is just unprecedented. He wasn't a product of his time, he was the creator of several different times. And here's the proof. These personas, they weren't just costumes, they were fully realized worlds. From the alien savior Ziggy Stardust to the cold, detached, thin white Duke. From the introspective Berlin recluse to the final Black Star prophet confronting his own mortality. Each one was a deliberate construction, built and then dismantled to prove that his system worked time and time again. And this is the ultimate culmination of his entire life's work. His final album, Black Star, was a secret he kept from the world while he was battling cancer. He turned his own death into a final, breathtaking act of art and reinvention. That album is a planned goodbye. And by making an album about death his last surprise, he proved that his philosophy, reinvent until they can't predict you, was so powerful it could turn the most universal human experience into a profound and shocking masterpiece. Okay, so why does any of this matter to us right now? Because Bowie's journey isn't just the story of a rock star. It's a roadmap. It's a guide for anyone out there who feels boxed in by expectations. This is where his story becomes our story. I want you to really sit with this question for a second. Look at your own work, your life, your career. Where are you playing it safe? Where are you choosing consistency over transformation? Bowie's entire life is this powerful testament to the idea that real impact isn't found in perfecting a routine, but in having the guts to embrace the change. So what would happen if you truly committed to that idea? This is it. This is the core actionable message. The world will always try to put a label on you, to keep you in a box, because honestly, it's just easier for them. The Bowie Rule is about rejecting that label.
Your real power is directly tied to your ability to stop playing the role that other people have assigned to you and start exploring the person you haven't even become yet. You're not a static thing. You're a builder of reinventions.
Ultimately, the lesson is this. Consistency is a choice, but it's a choice that often leads to standing still. The real truth, the kind that builds a legacy, is found in the motion, in the transition, in the act of becoming. Your willingness to reinvent yourself isn't just some creative strategy, it's the actual code for unlocking your own kind of greatness.